Good morning. It's really a pleasure to spend the next few minutes telling you about the 10-year history of the Moffitt PSOC, which in many ways began in 2005 at a Chinese restaurant near Santa Barbara, where Sandy Anderson, who at the time was a mathematician at the University of Dundee, and I had dinner and spoke at great length about the need to bring physical sciences research paradigm into cancer biology. What we meant by that was integrating mathematically based theory into this traditionally empirical world. About 3 years later, we were given an opportunity to bring this idea to fruition when we were invited by the leadership at the Moffitt Cancer Center to form an integrated mathematical oncology department. And with great courage, Sandy Anderson picked up his family, moved them from Dundee to Tampa, and took on this leadership role with tremendous energy and creativity. Our first goal was to simply justify our existence, and this resulted in a prolonged one-on-one proselytizing campaign in which we met with individual investigators and demonstrated to them that they work with models already. These models are typically in their head, they're often verbal, they can be intuitive, and they're often quite sketchy, but nevertheless they are constantly making estimates of the underlying dynamics in the experimental world that they're working, and also making predictions about how they can perturb that experiment and what outcomes they expect. What we show them is that the rigorous process of framing those models mathematically allows them to identify dynamics that are critical but maybe not recognized, and to also understand parameters and other dynamics that they may not fully have recognized before. We also show them that by using computer simulations or the vast parameter spaces typically involved in these kinds of systems, allowing them to both better understand their current experiments and also better plan future ones. This resulted in a large group of clinical collaborators, and against the institution, that proximity was critical in promoting those kinds of interactions through just day-to-day informal interactions, and convinced them that we should put all of them together onto a floor. At the core of this floor was a unique multidisciplinary conference room, which you can see here, that includes blackboards and chalk for the mathematicians, as well as projected PowerPoint slides typically used by the experimentalists and oncologists. Critical goal was then to bring this into the clinic, and Jinsong Zhang was the leader. He began collaborations with the evolutionary biologists and on in the program. They developed mathematical models and new ideas about using evolutionary dynamics to delay the onset of resistance to currently available cancer agents. He's run a number of clinical trials now that have shown significant benefit to patients by the explicit integration of evolutionary dynamics into the protocols. This work has in some ways culminated by this multi-center, multi-arm clinical trial run by Damon Reed, looking at kids with metastatic fusion-positive rhabdomyosarcoma, a disease which is almost fatal. The arms include one in which adaptive therapy, which is an evolution-based strategy to prolong response and delay resistance, is included. But there are also two arms that reflect some of the newer ideas in Moffitt PSOC, in which we harness the evolutionary dynamics of Anthropocene extinctions and use a sequence of therapies to cause extinction of the cancer population, which is otherwise not curable. And so the first goal in these arms is to actually cure these kids of this currently fatal disease. We have an extensive education and outreach program. This is run by Heiko Endeling, who's done a fabulous job, and will present more of this later in the program. And so here we are 10 years later. The IMO, which started with 2 faculty members, now has 9 faculty mathematicians, 3 evolutionary biologists. We have scores of collaborative programs with preclinical scientists. We have 6 active clinical trials and many more in design. I'd like to thank the PSOC leadership for its support and particularly recognize the pioneering efforts of Anna Barker, almost single-handedly brought this program to fruition. We thank you again for your support, and we look forward to many more years